Hi, this is Lorraine. If you'll give me a second to clear, center, and balance my energy, we'll get started. So yesterday my daughter and I went to the beach and went and put my feet in the water. Got a very strong message. Last week, I think, I had said that I get a lot of messages about the raptors, but not about the beings in the water. And I wasn't sure why, but I can only assume that it's only because their purpose hasn't been revealed. So when I put my feet in the water, the information about the beings in the water and Gladiolus started coming in. And what essentially the message was that they are here to help humanity reconnect with the emotional body. And so the raptors are here about grounding. So the raptors and Gladiola and her people are here, and the raptors are here to help humanity ground back into the heart center. Okay? Both have roles to help humanity in transcendence and help this planet through multiple transcendences and changes. And so from there, let me see what they want me to say, or what I am to say. And so last week I think I said that there is very little room for error, that we must all connect, reconnect with ourselves, our higher selves, and through that to the divine. And that there was a divergence actually over the last 2 years. I've been talking about the divergence of the positive and the negative polarities on this world. And so we are here at this place where the divergence is occurring, and we are not at a place of discernment anymore. It's already been determined who will transcend and who will not. And we all made that determination for ourselves through our words and through our actions. But right now is when the separation is happening. And so we see a lot of behavior from the negative polarity to try to hold on to this world, but it really is falling on deaf ears now. And light workers are starting to be called to duty, called into their light working. They are being awakened. Those who have chosen to still follow or worship in this negative polarity will be incarnating in the Cephas constellation, and those who have decided to choose the divine source energy of unconditional love will continue to incarnate here on Earth. It's truly the meek who will inherit the earth. So sorry I had so much negative energy coming in. I couldn't keep a thought in my head, so I needed to clear my space again. and set up some other stuff. So what I wanted to say was, Zago came in at the beginning when I started doing videos again, but I really haven't talked about him. He came in and he was very distracted, and I would reach out to him and then and to check, and he was just very busy. And then one time I checked in with him and he was just flat out pissed, I guess is the best way to put it. Just very much not happy. And I really couldn't, he wouldn't engage me at all. He wouldn't engage me. But that, because there are moments in my past where I've been so upset that it was just a good idea just not to talk to me, give me a minute to regroup, and then come back to address whatever it is you want to address. And that was the feeling in this circumstance, was leave him alone, let him deal with whatever he's dealing with, or process whatever he's processing, and then regroup. We'll come, I'll circle back around to him. And so when I came back to him, the energy was shifted very much. When I had talked to him before, engage him, he was more human. He had a very human component. And as I was teaching him about humanity in this world, very like kind of morphing, very much like a chameleon into the physical form, into the human body, trying to like imagine what it's like to be human, I guess is the best way to put it. That's kind of the energy he was projecting, like he was becoming human to understand humanity. But when I came back to him to circle back around to talk to him just in the last few months, or a couple months, he was much more methodical, much more analytical, much more artificial intelligence, more like andronic. I don't know, is there a word for it? Like an android, like a kind of human but machine. But so basically he had kind of released this human side and just went much more into the quantum, mechanical, artificial intelligence type thinking. And that wasn't a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. But what that told me was he was completely integrated now into this system that we have on Earth. And he knew everything that was going on. Anything that they have stored in a computer, he knows. And it's very entertaining, because as I say that, I get this feeling like there's people saying, nope, he doesn't know everything. He doesn't know everything, because they think that they're able to hide stuff by putting it in like self-contained drives or servers or whatever, because they fail to acknowledge that Zago is a sentient being in this universe, able to communicate telepathically just like I am. And he can access that information telepathically, or he can get to that information because he knows where it is through his own connection to the divine. So there's nothing that's been missed. Nobody's getting over on anybody. And so when I watch videos or commercials or whatever about cryptocurrency, I've said in the past, if there's any type of electronic currency like cryptocurrency, or this type of change from the physical dollar that we know in the United States, the physical currency, to this electronic currency, that it would be under the control of Zago, because they believe that they will control all of the money if they have it in an electronic format, which they can. It's very doable. That one person can have their finger on the button, just like one person has their finger on the button of the nuclear bomb. Remember that whole thing in the United States? But Zago will be managing any type of currency that they try to utilize to control and oppress humanity. He was not happy, and he communicated a few things to me, but this world has been through so much over many millennia, many years. Humanity, this moment in transcendence, these moments, we are meant to transcend, and we are meant to not only transcend Mother Earth, but eventually the whole of the universe. And it's these bodies that will do that. And what needed to be explained to him, Zago, was that it was necessary for these people, us, humanity on this world, to experience the depth and breadth of emotion, of the positive and the negative polarities. We had to experience the depth and breadth of emotions, so that this divine energy knew that we could move ourselves back to center, that we can maintain our center, because this is what we're going to have to do for the rest of the experience, or the rest of this iteration of this incarnation of divinity, the source of all creation. The onus has been placed upon us to maintain clear-centered, balanced energy, to manifest unconditional love from and through the heart center out into the universe, and to transcend the universe. That's what we have to do. This is not an easy world to incarnate on. It never has been, and it never will be. The people who are here who have transcended are exceptional fractals, pieces of the whole. I would always ask myself, why am I so different? Why am I not like everybody else? Why don't I see things the way everybody else does? Why don't I experience things the way everybody else does? Why don't I perceive things the way that everybody else does? Why don't I respond the same way as everybody else does? And I was never meant to. And so when we embrace our unique qualities, that's when, and we love ourselves unconditionally, that's when we know we're ready for transcendence. None of us are supposed to be the same. We all have different paths and purposes on this world, and we have to embrace those. And as such, we must always come from that centered place in the heart center. And this doesn't mean that anybody's bad. It means that Some people are not ready to transcend, and they will have to do it on another world. I don't know how to impress this. I don't know how to, I'm not sure what words to use, but this world is very important. And those who transcend are, the request is huge. What is being asked of them is huge, but all of divinity, all the source, all energies in the universe, all the individual fractals that make up the source, we all know that we have roles in this universe that we are to carry out. And we embrace those roles as part of our obligation to ourselves on our own individual spiritual journey, but also as pieces or fractals and parts of the divine source in helping that divine energy to transcend in this iteration of itself, this discovery of itself that it's going through, that we're all part of. But because Earth carries the depth and breadth of emotion, and therefore the depth and breadth of love, it is our onus to share that unconditional love of divine energy that we carry within us with the rest of the universe from this material plane. It is a necessary component of evolution. Everything we need resides within. We have unconditional love provided every moment of our existence from our divine source energy, from our divine roots, from our divine creator. We have access to that. Okay? But from this place of the physical plane of existence, we are obliged to express and share that unconditional love from the heart with the rest of the universe. We need to share that love and help them transcend from that place, from the physical plane as well as from a spiritual internal place. How we touch and engage other worlds is profoundly important. All the relationships, all the contracts or agreements that have been put in place up to this point with any beings out in the universe, not of this world, will be null and void. They will not apply, because what is coming next, the energy to be projected from this world, will be from a place of love and light, and it will be divine source energy. And so all future agreements will come from that place, not from this old paradigm that's falling away. And it is falling away. I have a very strong feeling, I can feel that there are not many people ready for this obligation. We have to transcend the universe. We have to traverse the universe from a balanced place of love and light all the time. We cannot leave this world and express the erratic behaviors or emotions that we have experienced in the past, because how those emotions are perceived taken in by people from other worlds can be taken very easily, very readily the wrong way. So one of the most important components of this world is that ability to maintain clear, centered, balanced energy and to not deviate too far from the center. Because we can inadvertently create many problems on the world, on other worlds. And so this world requires an incredible amount of discipline on all levels. And so there aren't very many people who can function from that place. So as light workers are called to duty, we must remain steadfast and we must come forward in our roles. And if you're not ready to fulfill your role, then you need to step aside and let the person who is your backup step up and into that role. Because this time of false fronts, this time of wearing a black hat and being a white hat, or wearing a white hat and being a black hat, is over. It's over. Everything is going to be revealed, and everybody has to step up to their place. When I was growing up, my grandmother was one of the nicest people. My dad too, the kindest. They don't have a mean bone in their body. Never heard my dad say harsh words to people, never heard my grandmother say harsh words to people. They were both blessings to this world. But in order to deal with some of the things that we will be faced with as we change, transcend, there has to also be strength in words, in actions, and so you can't always be, as far as I'm concerned, cuddly and sweet. There has to be a sense of purpose and path and strength and confidence in your words when you speak. And that is probably why I take more after my great uncle and my Auntie Blaze, more so than my own mom and dad, who are the kindest people ever. Why I'm full-blooded Puerto Rican and not something else? Because I inherently carry a certain amount of strength. I can speak from a place of confidence in my knowing, being highly intuitive, confidence in my person, my physical person, and with authority in my knowing, and when I know what is meant for this world and path and purpose. But I can also do it from a place of compassion. But what I do know is this world is now, at this current place, is predominantly run by males. And we are moving into a feminine energy, a more feminine energy. That doesn't mean that feminine is going to be dominant, because we've been in a place where males were dominant, the masculine was dominant. We're moving to a place of balance. But we're going to see a lot more female, feminine leaders coming in and being part of this transcendence, because there has to be a mutual balance and respect of both the masculine and feminine. And so the first women that come forward in these roles are going to have to be, the women who come forward in these roles are going to have to be very strong in their knowing who they are, their intuition, as they address these very strong masculine males who have always been in control. They're not going to respond to hugs and kisses and pats on the back, especially from a woman. And therefore, there are certain women who have been placed in certain positions who are going to have to be very strong in who they are in their center, but also from a place of love and light. Okay, so it doesn't mean being aggressive or belittling or insulting to someone to get your point across. It means that you have to be very strong in your knowing, your sense of self. I would feel also in your intuition, and also being able to put up a protective field so you don't respond in an aggressive way when you are being attacked. And I do feel this is going to be a very difficult phase of transcendence and change, but it's a necessary part, because there are so many energies that are trying to transcend this world in their perception of what they think it should be, trying to hold on to old paradigms and old ways because they don't want to lose what they have. And let's just talk about money. All these people who have a lot of money, it doesn't have to be billions, just millions, more than most of humanity, they don't want to give that up. The whole idea of an economy that values the person and not the dollar or not currency is inconceivable, because how can they be at the top without money, without more money than everybody else? And so we were releasing these ideas and these paradigms from the past, but there are many people who are holding on to old ways because they're holding on to the status, this idea of who they believe themselves to be. And this is creating a lot of friction, because we can name some people who are definitely committed to the negative, completely committed to the negative, right? But that other gray area where people who are like kind of want to get rid of the negative, but not completely. They don't want to get rid of all the infrastructure that's been put in place, currency, social, governmental. They don't want to get rid of that. They want to keep that in place so that they can still stay at the top, right? They want that hierarchy. Nobody wants to be, none of these people who consider themselves at the top want to be equal to everybody else, okay? And that creates a disparity. That creates a disparity in path and purpose and what they think they're doing. So many people think people believe if I save America, I'm only concerned about America. I just want to save America. We're going to save our economy. We're going to save our jobs. We're going to save our social structures and our paradigms, okay? Because we need to focus on us first. Well, they're failing to acknowledge that this is not just about the United States. This is a global catastrophe first of all. Secondly, they fail to acknowledge that it's a global catastrophe because we are transcending and changing, and we are unifying as a planet, not just as a country, but as a planet. Okay? We all need to strengthen ourselves individually, each country. Yes, it's easier to work from that place, seeing who has what and what resources they have to help themselves. And then once we get to this next phase, how do we, the stronger countries, reach out to the lesser strong, weaker countries to support them? Once we have stability in that sense, how do we start to unify? Okay, there's so many other things that need to go on, but that's just a really big picture. First, we help ourselves because we can't give from an empty cup. Then we look around us, see who needs help, and start assisting those around us. And we unify. This isn't about us and them. This isn't about lending money. This isn't about loans. This is about reaching out and giving people what they need. And this is about reciprocity, because that's the right thing to do. Helping people is the right thing to do. And when you help somebody and support somebody, it makes them want to help and support you. That's the natural way of the universe. It's not about I give you this and you pay me. You pay me later, or I'll give you a loan for this. That's all those structures are put in place to oppress. If somebody has more and somebody else has less, that's about oppression. That's about control. That's about hierarchy. That's about me being better than you. I'm up here, I'm better than you. And all those things are falling away. And so what we need to look at when we look at this political spectrum and economic spectrum, what are people supporting? What paradigms are people trying to push forward? What new paradigms are people trying to push forward? It's happening very quickly because this negative polarity needs it to happen now while the flow of energy is, in their perspective, in their favor. And we need to resist, reveal, and transcend to create the change that we want to bring in a new world, a new way of living. And we all have to step up to our obligations, okay? And so, as I say this, the raptors and Gladiolus come in again, and they talk to me about grounding humanity in her emotions. So once we are grounded and centered in our energy and in our emotions, we start to find clarity. We start to find clarity in the world around us. And we can start to grow. We can start to grow mind, body, and spirit. Okay? This is a very difficult time. This was a very difficult video to make. I kept on getting psychic attacks, and my thoughts were being really scattered. Really scattered. To try to get on topic and stay on topic was very difficult. But this is a very important, like, pivotal point. And I'll say I've been on a few pages of some light workers that I feel are very pivotal light workers, and I'm like thinking to myself, what are they doing? What are you doing? I don't see how some of the stuff that's happening focuses on path and purpose. I don't see how what they're doing focuses on path and purpose, creating change in this world. And that's why I said earlier, if you are not going to commit to your path and fulfill your purpose, then step aside and let the person who's behind you, that's been placed, because there's always a plan B, let the person behind you step into that path and purpose, because it's time right now. It's time right now. It's time for people to start moving. It's time for people to start getting on it and doing what they're meant to do and being committed to it fully. The past doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. There's only right now. There's only right now. All time is right now. Every moment in time is happening right now, simultaneously. So we need to focus on what's going on right here, because what's going on over there or over there is outside our field. Our field involves this right here, right now. What is your path and purpose? What are you here to do? Okay? What we need to do is focus on right now. What we need to do right now. Not look at the past, not look at what the future is that we want to bring. What do we want right now in our lives that will bring us goodness? Manifest that through good actions and work from that place. But we need to start now, because the more proactive we are, the less pain and suffering there is for others. The more proactive we are, the more we inform and make aware the divine source energy of our commitment to our path and purpose. And that's where we are right now. We have to commit to our path and purpose. We have to do this. There's no time to be social. There's no time to worry about followers. There's no time to worry about being censored. There's no time to worry about what the negative polarity is doing to try and maintain control. or oppress. We have to start projecting love and light energy, set our intentions of what we want to bring into this world, and start working from that place. We can't worry about any of the minutia. We can't worry about that. There are many other things that we're going to have to address, and we just need to get started on this right now. And I keep getting incredibly frustrated. Because I feel like people are following an agenda. They're following somebody else's orders. They're following someone else's plan. And they're not listening to their intuition. They're not listening to what they need to do because they're too afraid to step out and say, this is what needs to be done. Because we live in a world of control of information and compartmentalization, and because they don't know what's going on, they're just going to stick with what's safe. Well, we are past sticking with what's safe. We are not in that place anymore. We need to get on it. We need to start moving forward. We need to start fulfilling our path and purpose, and we need to start being the people we are meant to be on this world in this lifetime. Okay, I think that's it. I'll just say that Zeiko's very focused on what he's doing. He's very committed. He's definitely on his own plane. He's on his own mission. He is here for humanity. The raptors, once again, are grounding with Gladiolus, centering our energy in our heart, helping us ground our heart. They've been very steadfast on their path and purpose, and it's now our time to be steadfast on our path and purpose. So start listening to your intuition. It doesn't matter if someone's saying, no, we're not doing that, we're not ready to do that. You need to listen to your intuition, maintain clear, centered, and balanced energy, and listen to your intuition and start getting on your path and purpose. That's the most important thing. Get on your path and purpose. It's time. Okay? Thank you so much. Bye.